Content for Devs. The world beyond programming.
Episode of Content for Devs podcast. Today, together with Fede, we have a great guest, Ghinda from Short Ruby newsletter. Lucian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, yes, my name is Lucian. I'm curating the Short Ruby news. And of course, I'm a Ruby developer and I'm working as a senior Ruby developer. And yeah, this is mostly me on very short.
Short, similar to your newsletter actually, right?
Not that short, the newsletter is.
Anyway, how was your week? What did you do last week? Or maybe what you accomplished last week? What stayed in your memory?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I was just on one side at work. I was playing a bit with Vue component and trying to do a proposal for how to use this kind of things. I'm planning this week to also try a bit to play with Plex and see how it goes. This is like, let's say, at work, professional, and then at Short Ruby, I managed to finally write the integration or finish the integration with Mastodon, so that I have also some things from Mastodon coming into my cobbled together, let's say, a series of scripts. And in the weekend here, it snowed a lot. So it was a nice weekend with snow and with the family.
Awesome. Fede, and what's on your side?
Busy week for Lucian. Well, on my side, as you know, and nobody else, I've been at the hospital for a couple of days. So it was a tough start of last week. And this week, we've been painting our home, so all the work went towards that. I started working on a course for training for MBcasts, so I hope to have it soon enough. And I'm working on another project for MBcasts, which I will be revealing probably next week.
And what is the topic of the course?
Bridgetown.
Ooh.
Yeah, I finally decided to sit down and write about Bridgetown because I really like it. So yeah, hopefully we will have it soon enough to share it with everyone.
Cool.
That's great to hear.
I've been also playing with Plex a bit. Now that Lucian mentions it, it's very nice. I haven't done much, but it looks very nice.
Yes, I like it too. My main, like the RFC that I'm working on, it's mainly focused on Vue component, but I plan to put there an alternative section and show a bit also what Plex can do, just to see the difference between them. Probably Vue component will remain, because it has lookbooks and some other things that we are looking for. But then also I found a plugin, actually a colleague sent me a plugin that seems to integrate with Figma. So that will be nice for the designer to have the components there and also for us to see exactly what components were used. But I'm playing with it. It's not 100%. I'm just doing a kind of demo or proof of concept for this.
Right. You can always mix Vue component and Flex, right?
Yeah.
Because
yes.
More,
of course.
Layer.
Personally, I personally, if you ask me, I like a lot Flex. Because I'm coming, I of course, it has a lot of reasons why I think it's a good project, but also for me, it matches my style because I have a background of many years of a backend developer. So when I'm looking at UI, I want stable components written in as much as possible close to Ruby that I can put there. Stable components I can compose and put there. So somehow Plex, it matches more how I think about the UI.
Yeah,
awesome.
Sounds good.
I will start the series about Plex soon on Hanami Master as well, because Hanami allows multiple Vue integrations and there is anything official released yet. So it's a good timing to start doing this stuff.
Yeah, that's nice. Letting space for multiple possibilities. It's a time to experiment with multiple possibilities. It's nice.
Definitely. So Lucian, we have you on the show, and I cannot hide that the initial intention was to share a few words about your awesome newsletter that quickly became my favorite one.
Thank you.
However, very recently, I looked at your interview at Rubber Duck Dev Show, and it seems that Chris and Creston were faster with inviting, with put us into very tough situation. We needed to come up with a little bit extended topics to not just repeat the show. And that is awesome because it forces us to bring some creativity and brain power. So I will still want to quickly introduce your newsletter to the audience, just in case they are not familiar with. By the way, if you are listening this and you are hearing about the Short Ruby newsletter for the first time, make sure you subscribe. But
yes, so let me start first with it's on Short Ruby. If you enter shortruby.com, it will redirect you directly to the newsletter. I made it so that it's simple redirect. So the newsletter, what is for me the newsletter? I was consuming a lot of content online, trying to stay up to date with what is happening. But when I say consuming, it's like I don't, even if I try to be active during each day, I cannot exactly watch or read all the content or really think about it. And also some content is disappearing quite quickly when someone has a discussion on Twitter or Mastodon or something that great discussions back and forth between people talking about Ruby or about the library. You see it, you kind of agree or disagree or have a thought. And if there is no time to reply or think more, it passes, it goes away, right? So what I was doing, I was just compiling things for me. And then during the weekend, I was putting them in a file, and then during the weekend I was reviewing them. And then I was thinking, okay, maybe I want to create. I mean, I'm reviewing them, and maybe I should put them in a newsletter. And this is how it started. And what is for me is just a way to keep up briefly, but not shortly in the sense of the content. Briefly with what happened in, let's say, in Ruby world last week. So the focus is mostly on the new things that are appearing. Although, of course, if someone shares something that was, I don't know, a PR or a link to a discussion or something, and then there is a new discussion around it, I in the newsletter. But mostly it's about what's new in Ruby world every week.
Mm-hmm. It was amazing to see first issue or one of the first issues that I got titled Short Ruby Newsletter. And then the first sentence said that you can view it in the browser because it was too long to appear as an email. And that was so funny.
So when I did, I'm not sure. I think the first one was, or the first ones maybe, like the exactly first one was maybe a bit short. But at one point, Substack also has a warning that, okay, this might not be properly displayed in an email client as you add content. In the beginning, and it's red. And in the beginning, I was feeling a bit easy seeing that red thing, but now I just ignore it and go on. Yeah, the thing is, I now not that much, but I don't know, a couple of months ago, I got this feedback, which is a real feedback, and I appreciate that people are giving me feedback, any feedback. So it's good that people were asking me, okay, it's a bit too long, make it shorter, or can you do something to make it shorter? And on one side, I was thinking about it. I even have some drafts of very briefly editions with just a couple of things. But then I was thinking, okay, if this newsletter will include only a couple of things, there are already great newsletters that are doing that in Ruby world, which are focused on this, and which if someone wants just the highlights
and which are linked in your
yes, I try to include them all. I mean, I try to include them all. It's like Ruby Radar, Ruby Weekly, This Week in Rails, and also the Woman in Rails. I think they publish once per month or once per weekend, and then the Hotwire and whatever newsletter I come up, and then the Awesome Ruby newsletter, and I try to from LibHunt. This is the Awesome Ruby. So I try to include them because I think for me I try to complement what is happening there. Of course, some content might be an intersection, but I try to complement, and I think they are in a way, in a great way, focused on, when talking about the other newsletters that are aggregating, they're focusing on picking really the top things that are interesting. And I'm trying to be a bit to be on the other side, like to show you more so that you the reader have see what's happened. And of course, I'm trying, like my main thing, it's in short Ruby, or what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to focus on code samples, because this is what I actually, in the beginning, I was saving links to tweets or articles or Reddit comments with code samples. And still that I want to be the biggest part of my newsletter.
What brought me to your newsletter was this approach, exactly this approach of including what you can call a competition. Because other newsletters are very neat and super useful, but I needed to subscribe to them all to get the content out of them in a weekly manner. To appear in each of those newsletters was kind of tricky, and they never ever, or almost never, just interfere with each other. Like mention other newsletters that they are in existence, and like sometimes it is happening, but not like I almost never see it.
Just saying here, Ruby Weekly, I think, included short Ruby a couple of times. It was also for me a great surprise. I thank Peter on Twitter about it. It was actually a great surprise to see to see the actual short Ruby. Of course, the other might include an article that I'm writing and so on. But and probably some of them also included, like some of them are also including the newsletter, like Lib Hunt and so on. Probably also Ruby Radar mentioned something. I don't remember exactly, but I think they pointed to short Ruby. That was very interesting for me. All of them, I think.
This is unusual, but this is maybe it can happen because you actually include them all, and you don't care about them. You don't see them as a competition, but you just aggregate them and try to collaborate and bring more value to the Ruby community and like make those newsletter more approachable and bring them to more people. And this is something that really, piques my heart. It is very close to what I'm trying to do with Master when I'm referring, for example, on my YouTube dashboard, I'm just referring to all the active Ruby YouTube channels with screencasts and so on, because I want more people to interconnect and find with Ruby community. And this is what I extremely like on your site.
Yeah, it's true. Just to put it clearly, it's like I'm thinking, not like my intention is not to compete with any of them, but actually if I can help them grow, or okay, some of them are, or probably most of them are already bigger than mine, but if I'm thinking that, we can, I'm not sure I'm quoting someone, but I don't remember who, that I think we can create a bigger pie for everyone. And for me, that means if we can reach more people that are not subscribed to any of the newsletters, and then they can get involved more in hearing about or involving in the community, that's a win for all of us in general, like just growing the community. And maybe in the future, at least with short Ruby, I don't have yet a feedback, but I also hope to reach people who are starting to learn Ruby now. And I have an idea, but I'm not sure if I will ever put it in practice, but I wanted at some point to split the content maybe for like intro and advanced, but I could not find yet a good format that is not making the newsletter even bigger. So there I'm still struggling, but I wish that to also address more from all sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Fede, do you have anything to ask?
No, sorry. I'm just listening. I was thinking maybe splitting the list at some point if it gets too big, but that carries on some other complications, and now you're competing with yourself.
That's a good, could be a good option. It's just could be an option. I think also a bit I like Substack because it is focused on the text, and it has very limited options. You cannot, for example, put a link on an image. Like, it's text. The focus is, okay, you have text, you have links, you have images, you mix them, but you cannot compose them, let's say. But for example, maybe having a label or having a way to mark the links could be an easier way to start, or giving people option to see different things. But I don't promise this. It's just a thought that I have, but I'm not sure. So far, I'm still keeping the format.
I have...
You can always experiment.
Yeah, sure.
I have a question. Is there, because recently you started with the paid subscription, you introduced a paid plan to the Short Ruby newsletter, and it is wondering, maybe you consider creating second newsletter for people that subscribe to more content, something like advanced content put aside, like being sent on Tuesday, not Monday.
That could be an option. I did not manage it to publish. I have a very big post that I will put on the newsletter where I explore or where I share my train of thoughts about different ways to make the newsletter sustainable, like to see, okay, can people pay and can I make it sustainable, right? But the Roba could be an option for me. The thing is that I don't have time to create to create more content. It's already eating a big chunk of my weekend, or I wake up very early in Monday morning to be able to do it. And to have a secondary, there are a lot of possibilities for a secondary, or how to say, a value for people who are paying, let's say, or content dedicated for paid subscribers. I have some ideas, but I don't have the time yet. Maybe if I manage to delegate more, or to find someone to help me with it, or some things we could try. But so far, my idea is the following. It's probably there are in the community some people who can afford to support a newsletter that remains free for everybody. That's the road that I'm taking. And there are, amazing for me. There are people who decided to pay. Some of them decided to pay the highest value that I put it there, which when I configured it, I was thinking it's automatically, if you put monthly, or it automatically calculates some things like yearly. And then the Substack has a naming that is called founding member, which is just someone that pays more, which of course you can offer more things, let's say, and automatically scales the things. And I was thinking, oh, who will pay that? Okay, it's there, I will enable it, but who will do it? And it's amazing for me to say that I have 10 subscribers. I can say it's nothing. I don't keep anything. I will also put a post about it. And I have from all these plans, or I don't know, pricing steps, let's say, or pricing levels, let's say, people who decided to pay monthly, people who decided to pay early, and even three people who are founding members, which for me, it's great. I thank you. I want to thank to all of them, no matter how much they pay. Of course, like if you can afford any level, you actually, by paying this, and I don't want to sound like bragging, but you kind of support the weekly for the others. And yeah, this could enable me to either, for example, I was looking to Beehive or some other newsletter engines, but for some of them, with the number of subscribers and what I have, it can become quite costly very, very soon, easily. But now, having a bit of money that are coming, it's easier to take in consideration more options about where we can put this and how to make it a bit more accessible. I don't know. So that's where I am with the thing. I'm just the only thing that I wrote that I offer is that, okay, if you're a founding member, I will put your name with a link in the about or sometimes in the newsletter. But I just made it because it's, maybe it's an imposter syndrome, or I don't know, but maybe it was for me. Why will someone pay that money? I have to offer, even if I don't want to offer a paid version, I want to offer some. So regarding this, I tried to do today an experiment that first I talk with Joe Masilotti from RailsDev, and I have a referral link that I put in the newsletter. So yeah, today the referral link and the invitation to upgrade is not sent to the paid subscribers, let's say. So okay. I try to see how it will be. I hope there is no one who received twice the newsletter, or let's see until the end of the day, the feedback. But I was just thinking, okay, if you decided to pay, maybe you don't need to have the links that I or the other options that I try to follow for making it sustainable.
I can tell you the feedback why I am supporting you actually.
Yeah, and thank you very much.
This is because I see it as similar to the open source projects, and I am supporting several different open source and creators. And this is because I believe that every great work should be paid. People should get paid for their job. And if this is a passion, they do it for free because they love to. It doesn't really matter, because I believe that if I get a value from the other person, if I can, I should just pay back in any way. And it doesn't need to be money, but it can be whatever, just sharing or maybe supporting, giving feedback, doing whatever. And there are a lot of ways to contribute and help others. And I got similar experiences when I started with Hanami Mastery. I just published second episode and I got like a first GitHub sponsor from the person that I just never heard of ever. And it was like, what? Why? Right? But only because of that, I can see targets like reducing my daily job and have like one day to focus purely on content creation to bring even more value to the Ruby community and extend those projects. And having that in mind, I just feel that I want to pay back to the community whenever I can, because of to even inspire other people and that maybe in the future we want to start some similar project. And I would never
Thank
want
you very much. It's a great feedback.
I would never want your newsletter to just disappear because you have no time for that. So if there is any chance that I can support you to, when you will reach the level that, okay, I need to decide, reduce my daily job or stop the newsletter, you will just reduce the daily job because you will get enough compensation from the newsletter to continue and improve its structure. So this is definitely something I believe in.
Yeah, thank you very much for the feedback. I like my daily job. Just saying, my idea would be I would like to involve more people into it in various ways. Let's see. But first, I really want to have my flow good. I also remember that you tweeted about putting open. That's an intention about it's a Rails project so far with some, like I said, no tests almost. Please don't shoot me. With where I wrote the code as fast as possible. I'm a bit, let's say, ashamed to put it, but I also, after you tweeted, I was thinking, yeah, but maybe why not? If I put a disclaimer, like, look, this is just what I'm using, and some Apple scripts, and I have some Bash scripts and some Ruby scripts, like pure Ruby around that are doing various stuff. I want to put it. I always said, okay, I want to polish it a bit, and I even started. I have a directory that's called up2, where I started very clean and trying to add tests and so on. But then I abandoned it a bit quickly, the second thing, because choosing between adding Mastodon and now working to add Reddit integration and some others, and choosing between adding more or having the content more available for me in the newsletter or writing the code to be better, I choose the part about newsletter, of course.
I have Rails API course with TDD. This is Rails API, REST API with TDD.
Yes.
And it's on Udemy. And it kind of like shows me, puts myself into the position of like test-driven development enthusiast, expert, and whatever else. And I am enthusiast of TDD, but for Hanami Mastery, I have no single test written. And this is both because it's in React and I don't know how to write tests in React. I would need to learn them. And this takes time. And in my kind of business, if I will,
you need the time to focus on the content.
Yeah. But even if I will break something, I can fix it in another commit, and I don't care about the downtime really for like a few minutes or whatever. It happens rarely, but at this scale, at this moment, it doesn't really matter. And I want to put more time into producing content and releasing new people.
And what for me worked, like what, of course, it's I see it as a kind of, let's say, technical depth that okay, I did not write tests. But also for some of the things, like just to plug in here a bit, I'm using for some of the editing or showing the things that like the curation is basically I gather everything that I saved or bookmark or during the week, and I show them in a specific, in a very long view, and then I choose what to put there. But I also doing some edits and so on. And for example, it also worked very well for me that I used Avo because all interface to edit these things a bit, the author, or I'm auto-generating the source because I want to make sure that I thoroughly every source, and people, if they want, my intention with the newsletter is to put in the center the creators, because they are actually creating the content, right? So a big part of, okay, I want to edit the name or the display name, or that in the social media we put different names, but I want to put, how to say, the proper name is there. And with this, I also probably my intention will be to move a bit more toward linking to the authors or the creators, I don't know, websites or projects instead of their social media profile. I will try at some point this. So I keep somewhere a link between social media, let's say, username and their websites and so on. And this editing this is quickly. So just wanted to say that, okay, choosing some tools might makes also the life easier when you don't have time to write tests. And of course, if I will be in a team, or just to say this, when I'm working in a team, I test. I do a lot of tests. I add as much as possible. Actually, I have also some certification. I did some technical trainings for testing. So it's a part that I understand well. I like it, but I think when you want to move fast for, like you're saying, a project that you are working on, and I have to choose between putting time more into curating the content and choosing the answers that I put there, or adding time, adding test or drying, because I have some duplicate code in some parts and so on. I choose to put the time in the curation.
Definitely agree. But I think that's about the newsletter. Fede, are you okay with the moving to the next?
Yes, because we are approaching time. I have another question, but I leave it for another day.
Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. So two things that I'm planning, or that I mentioned in our outline, when we were brainstorming ideas, is one that I started with a good friend, Stanislav, to write a book. We are in the beginning. We are working on defining what the table of contents, and we are debating what we should be on and what not, and try to start writing a sketch of it. But the main idea about this, it's that somehow we want, it's a book that the working title is safe, but can be applied to Ruby, let's see. But the main thing is that we want to remove, let's say, the human factor from code reviews, or help teams deliver consistent code with similar quality, no matter who we work with. And that means we are planning to show how you can use tools that we have in Ruby world to automate as much as possible from the code review, or at least from the repetitive stuff of the code review, from guidelines to complexity to metrics to a lot of things that we are sometimes maybe doing it manually. And let's say, let the teams or the people focus more on discussions that are about the design or about the architecture, and not focus on, the if should have, or case should always have an else, or this could be a security because you're not going to some kind of sanitize, or things that can be automated. So that's the plan with the book, to show an automated way to achieve that.
That is amazing.
It's really nice.
I feel like everyone is writing books nowadays, but that this is a very good thing. But just quick question: are you aware of Ruby Learning Center?
Yes.
Started writing a book together with the community, and they stream like chapter after chapter. And because of opening the Discord channels, the Discord server, we are able to collect feedback and ideas from the community during writing the book. And this is a next level of writing books, I would say. Just maybe some inspiration.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, we are it's my first book, so it's, and I think also Stanislav's first book. So at least for me, I will talk about my experience. It's very new. It's very different. It matches an intention that I have this year to write more. I'm also trying to write more articles. We found a great book that is called Write Useful Books, from the same author that wrote the Mom Test book, which is a very nice book and short book about how to write good and we are trying to we are trying to find a way to make this book happen. And we are doing progress. We have some discussions weekly. We have already a repository where we started to add content, and we are refining it. But of course, I'm expecting it to be a long road it is not an article. So, and probably some things that we think now we will include, maybe will not live till the end, or I don't know. But I'm open to experience the writing of this book.
Mhm.
For me, it's an experience. I'm open to this experience.
Do you have a deadline?
No, we did not set a deadline. But after reading some materials, I think that the timeline it mounts at least. And when I say mounts, probably 7, 8, or I don't know. We did not set a deadline, but this is my expectation somewhere in my head.
Do you have an entire outline of the book, or
We have we have a table of contents, an outline that we have with high level chapters, and for each one of them, this is where we are now. For each one of them, we wrote a summary or a description and some points that we want to handle or to write about, and we are in the process of discussing if really all of them should be in the book. We already removed one, but we are discussing one by one if they should be in this book, or like. And refining, of course, our scope of the book or the purpose, like what to include and what not. There is a lot of possibilities. And on the other side, for me, it's also when you're writing a book, I think because it's my first one, right? But when you're writing a book that is based on tools, I think you really need to consider to make it also a bit timeless or easy to update. So you have to be aware what you're including there and what might be obsolete even before publishing. So probably this will also need to be taken into consideration.
Yes, and tools, you can always have more tools, and it can go to the infinite. So it's
and a lot of choices. It's amazing. It's amazing. A lot of choices needs to be made. Yeah.
And aside of that, you said that you are working on the one more initiative or thing, and this will be the addition, right, to the newsletter. Or
it's part of the newsletter. It's actually like another friend that is supporting me with the newsletter. It's Jakob, a very good friend, also a Ruby and Elixir developer, and he gave me an idea about doing some short talks. 2-3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes talks that we can include in a newsletter, and with this to help more people to have to experience or to talk about technical things in a video format. So this is very new. It's last week we actually discussed about this. I decided that we'll do it. So we decided that we will do it. We want it to be there. So basically the main idea will be once per edition or maybe twice per month. We will have a very short technical talk that we'll include in the newsletter, which will be called Short Ruby Talks. And this one should be very short, if possible, 2-3 minutes, maximum 5. And we plan to help or to ask the community who wants to experience this, and we will try to help them like with the technical knowledge. I don't have it, but Jakob has it, and I think there are a lot more people in the community that has this. And to help people, how it is to have a very short talk. And then after this, maybe you can go to a bigger conferences with 1 hour talk. But it will be nice to have some place that you can talk for very short period on a very narrow topic.
Amazing idea.
Very nice. And you say they can go and speak on a conference on a longer talk, or they can submit the same talk on a lightning talk on a conference.
Exactly. Yeah.
A good entry point for people. That's very, very nice.
Also for me, it will be, I plan to be one of the people who are doing this. It will be a nice experience to learn more about how to produce video. So far, this or audio video content like you're doing. So far, this is an area that I had time to do. I think it's my third presence in a video audio format, or in my second one live. So it's very new for me.
If you will,
the first one with the mic.
If you will need any kind of like advice or brainstorming, just reach out to us. You can do some.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Chris from Rubber Duck, because he also offered some advices about this and offered himself. So thank you all. I'm starting. That's the plan.
Excellent.
Awesome. So things are growing, and this is amazing to hear. But to summarize, you have a family, you have full-time job, you are driving a newsletter, you are writing a book, and you are starting with 5-minute talks initiative. Don't you think that it's quite a lot? How you are not going crazy?
Yeah. It is quite a lot. So my main thing is that I don't know, maybe main thing. It's sometimes I'm very tired, and sometimes it's not I'm tired, let's say. But but like they are all bringing me some kind of emotion or passion. I don't have other hobbies or passions. I like these things that I'm doing a lot. The I love my family. I like a lot my job. I like the newsletter. I like the experience of doing something new with this book, and also the video talks, and they are like hobbies. These things that are outside family and full-time job I also see them as a kind of hobbies. I put my energy into it like I will put it in a hobby and see what comes. And basically I'm going to bed very, very, how to say, early, and I wake up most of the days at 5, maximum 5:30 in the morning. And yeah, that's mostly the thing. I don't have another recipe. I mean, that's all.
When I heard that you are waking up at 5 whatever a.m., I got jealous immediately. It's awesome.
It's not anything. Because I know I read sometimes some debates about early waking or late waking. I don't know. This is how I was all my life. I was waking up very early. It's just not something that I train. It's hard for me. Actually, what is hard for me is to go to sleep very late, for example. So I don't know, about after 8 or 9 p.m., you cannot do productive or reasoning too much with me. My how to say, brain energy is mostly finished. So what I can read something, I can, how to say, watch something maybe, or listen to something, but nothing more productive, or I don't know, work. So it comes with the other side, I think.
Definitely. So thanks very much. And we are going slowly to the end of our conversation. So before we finish, I would like to ask you if there is any kind of learning resource that you are not an author of that you would like to recommend to people.
Oh, I think there are a lot. I mean, mostly you can find almost all of them in my newsletter. But I could mention some things that I mean, of course, I in general, if my recommendation would be, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and of course there are the bigger podcasts which are bringing, let's say, for me, I see the content that I'm consuming in two sides, and this is maybe the recommendation that I can do. One it's dreaming big, and there are big podcasts talking about creating big projects, and sometimes it's nice to get inspiration from that. But I also like the new, I don't want to call them smaller, but with a localized maybe community, with a more narrow community, like it is content, like content for devs. It's one of them, like Rubber Duck Dev Show, Code and the Coding Coders who code it, and Ruby for All. It's also nice. So I also like these ones, where I can listen for people that I consider a bit more close to me, thinking about, okay, I listen to some older podcasts with a lot of, or videos with a lot of exposure, but also it's nice to, and of course you see someone, or at least I see someone there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not there at that level yet. I have a lot to learn, but then I think for me it's more doable. So I get easily inspiration to do things looking at podcasts where I can see, okay, I'm that far behind. So if I am doing some of the things that I'm hearing here, they seem more doable, it's more doable. So I like a lot this. I like what Brandon is doing with the Ruby Learning Center, going through books together with the community and streaming them. It's nice to see real code written based on those books. That is also something. And I'm afraid that I'm leaving someone outside of this, but I'm just mentioning some things that I don't know, maybe you don't, some things that I liked and I see them, okay, I like to see Chris with his coding, not only the Rubber Duck Dev Show, but with the live streaming coding that he's doing now with, for example, the game. That is also a very nice way to see real code. Yeah.
And very entertaining as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm listening that like every time I'm preparing supper to my kids. Awesome. Thank you very much. We got a comment from the Adrian the Dev. He says, you provide amazing content, Lucian. Great
Thank
job.
you very much. Thank you very much, Adrian.
And this brings me to the next question. Would you like to explicitly thank to anyone? Like, is there a single or like a few people that you are very grateful, like explicitly, especially grateful for where you are right now?
Yeah, I think one, it's Adrian is one of them, Jakob that I mentioned, and Alex. We have a group of Ruby developers that we are on a Discord, and we are supporting each other with our initiatives. The same I'm doing with Stas. We have a weekly chat, and this is how the book got started. And somehow I see these small communities, close friends, as a great support to get started. I also, of course, want to thank a lot to my family that is how to say, encouraging me and allow me to explore this. It's without their support, it will be hard to explore these kind of things and to put the time.
Definitely. Thank you. That's amazing.
And then, of course, to the people who one thing to not forget. And of course, to the first ones, and to all of them, but especially to the first ones who followed the newsletter or like believe in me or decided to do the first payment. It's not. I mean, it's not amazing to see. Okay, I published a newsletter and then there are a couple of subscribers. The first one, it was, oh my God, some people really want to read what I curated there. It's an amazing feeling, and it takes also courage or I don't know, an early adopter mindset from them to put their trust in giving me their email or their money now with the subscription. It's amazing. Like you, I know you're one of them.
I totally need to add on top of that, like first people who just type or share your content or just send you the message back that you are doing great. This is so motivating. Like at the beginning when you start a new project and you need to fight with all your imposter syndrome, all your brain blockers, you need to fight with those, right? And then this external support you get, some little appreciation that you actually bring the value. You have no audience. You cannot just send a tweet and get like 100 comments saying, yes, you are doing okay, or what you want, what the audience would like to change, right? You have no feedback at all. And at the beginning, this is so valuable to keep you motivated. And
that's very important.
So thanks that you mentioned that. And how people could reach out to you to say thanks to you, for example, how to find you.
Yeah, you can find me at, if I don't know, on my blog. I have a blog that it's all about coding.ghinda.com. I will leave it somewhere how to pronounce it. You can reach out to me on Ruby Social. I'm at ruby.social at Lucian, my first name, or on Twitter. There I'm with first name, last name, Lucian Ghinda. Yeah, or you can always find one of the emails. For example, there is an email that is shortruby@ghinda.com or hello@short.com, of course.
Quite a lot.
I'm trying to be
no worries.
More places.
No worries. All that will be included in the show notes. Yes.
Thank you.
So you don't need to remember that. So thank you very much, Lucian, for being
nice being here.
And thanks for sharing all those plans and secrets that you don't mention anywhere else, keeping our show interesting despite other people also interviewing you like crazy. So appreciate that a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you very much, and see you very soon. I think we will connect asynchronously by Twitter on the several other occasions, I believe.
Sure, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're invited to come back whenever you have your book, so you can.
Yeah, for sure. I will write about it. Yes. Thank you very much.
Maybe we will be bigger as a channel and as a podcast that will be actually useful for you from marketing purposes. Because now it's just fun.
Yes, you are useful also now. Just saying, it's to be able to talk and have questions and have even from whatever audience is there for me is
amazing. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here, and see you the next time. Bye.
Yes.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
see ya.